So very good evening to one and all. Children, in yesterday class, we discussed about the causes, we discussed about the world between the world wars, and we discussed about the 20th century, and it was declared by the Eric Hobsbawm as the age of extremes. Today, the same lesson, the world between the world wars, two world wars, and our topic is the causes for the First World War. Today, we are going to discuss about the various causes for the First World War. So the first cause is aggressive nationalism. So first of all, I would like to ask, what do you mean by nationalism? Nationalism, it's nothing but, children, a devotion towards its own nation. Devotion towards its own nation. When the people they start the devotion towards their own nation, automatically it created a hate, the hatred against the other countries, the hating the other countries, because these people, those who followed this feeling of aggressive nationalism, they believed in the worshipping their own countries. And as you all know that before that, the newly formed countries were there, Italy and Germany. Italy and Germany, after the unification, they started following this policy, this feeling called as aggressive nationalism. As in the yesterday class only, the previous class only, we discussed the Italy developed a new ideology called as the fascism, whereas the Germany developed a new ideology called as the Nazism. And what is fascism and what is Nazism, we discussed already in the yesterday's class. So this fascism and Nazism that was created by this Italy and Germany, it developed the feeling of the worshipping their own countries, though it is good for the unity, to maintain a unity for the among the people, but with the same, it created a hatredness towards the other countries that led to the various tensions, that led to the development of the various tensions among the European countries, and that paved the way for the First World War. So hope it is clear to you the first cause, aggressive nationalism. Is it clear, children? So after the aggressive nationalism, what is the second cause? The second cause for the First World War, children, the second cause is imperialism. The second cause is imperialism. What is imperialism? I hope you are having an idea about imperialism. Imperialism, children, as you all know that at the world level in the 1850, at the world level, we find that there is a development of the industrial revolution occurred. New industries developed, and because of the development of the new industries, establishment of the new industries, it led to the search for the new markets. So all the capitalist countries of the world, all the industrialized countries, we can also say that industrialized countries of the world, they were in need of raw materials. They were in need of raw materials for the production in their industries. They were in need of markets to supply their products to the various parts of the world. To search this raw material and the markets, children, the developed countries of the world, the people, they started moving from one place to the other place, from one country to other country, from one continent to the other continent. And when they moved, the children, they found that the other countries were very weak and they could easily occupy these countries. That led to the imperialism. So it means that occupying the raw materials, for the sake of raw materials and for the sake of markets, the developed countries of the world, they occupied the weak countries, and made them as colonies to exploit their resources. Now the question comes, what were those countries? Who made the other countries as the colonies? All of you know very well what are those countries. The countries are America, the countries are Germany, the countries are Britain, and the countries are Italy. These countries. So what happened? At the time, the newly formed countries were there by the name like Italy and Germany. So these newly formed countries, they too want to occupy, they too want to be in the race of this imperialism to occupy the new colonies. But the old colonies, means the developed countries of the world, those who were there, those who already established their colonies, they were not ready to give the colonies to easily to the hands of Germany and Italy. And again, this led to create a tension among the countries of the world that will pave the way for the First World War. So this is the second cause, children, for the First World War, imperialism. I hope it is clear to all of you. So after imperialism, what is the third one? The third cause for the First World War. So the third cause is secret alliance. Secret alliances. Secret alliances. So secret alliances. First, what do we mean by alliances? Secret alliances. Alliances, it means treaties. It means agreement. It means agreement. So what was the reason that the secret treaties or the secret agreements started during this period? So as you all know that already there were many developed countries of the world were there. So Germany, the newly formed country, Germany. In the year 1870, the Chancellor of Germany by the name Bismarck. By the name Bismarck. Who was he? He was a Chancellor. He was a Chancellor of Germany. So he did a secret alliances with other countries of the world. What was the need? It was nothing but to protect their own countries from the developed, powerful countries of the world. So what was this alliance that was formed by the Bismarck? So Bismarck, I said Germany. So Germany had an alliance with Austria-Hungary and Italy. Germany made an alliance with Austria-Hungary and Italy. So the alliance that was made by the Germany with Austria-Hungary and Italy, it was called as Triple Alliance. It was called as Triple Alliance. So Triple Alliance, in the year 1879, Austria joined in this Triple Alliance, children, followed by 1882. The Italy also joined in this alliance. So they formed this one. So these countries were called as, thus later they were called as Central Powers. Later they were called as Central Power. You have to make a keynote over this one. What are the countries that were called as Central Powers, or name the countries that they formed the Triple Alliance. So Triple Alliance was formed by Germany, Austria-Hungary and Italy. So by seeing this Triple Alliance, a secret alliance, what happened? The other countries of the world, they too formed their own agreements. So France made an agreement with Britain, and Russia. France made an agreement with Britain and Russia. So this Britain and Russia in the year 1891, children, and Britain in the year 1904. So what was the secret alliance name? This power was called as Triple Alliance. Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary and Italy. So France made an alliance with the Britain and Russia, and they called this secret alliances as Triple Entente. It was called as Triple Entente. Later, these groups were called as Allied groups. So now before you found, it is very clear to you. Now the world, it started dividing among the groups. They thought that they are very safe in this group. They thought that when anyone attacked on one country, the other country will rush to help them. The other group, they felt the same, that they are under the protection of their own alliance countries. And what the importance you have to remember is this one, Triple Alliance. and the triple entity. Triple alliance by Germany, Austria, Hungary and Italy. And these countries were also called as Central Powers. Whereas triple entente by the France, by the Britain and by the Russia. And it is also, they were also called as a allied powers. So what happened when the two groups were formed, children? So it was like a tension. Now from all the sides, it was like a tension that who is going to attack on them, which kind of weapons, which kinds of weapons are they manufacturing to attack on them. So in this feeling of insecurity, they started showing a suspicion, a doubt on the other groups. So a hatredness, suspicious feeling that developed among these groups, children, led to the First World War. So this is clear, children, secret alliances. Okay, so after the secret alliances, we have the next one. The next cause for the First World War. What is the next cause for the First World War? So the next cause for the First World War is, fourth one is militarism. What is militarism then? Name is also supporting to you, military. That means it was a belief that if any country they are having a very strong military, so this military is going to protect them, going to save them from the powerful countries, from the enemy's countries. And in this belief, what happened, children? Almost all these powerful countries, they started developing their own militaries, called as militarism. So let us write down the definition for the militarism, children. Believe that it was a belief that military power will save them from their enemies. From their enemies is militarism. So what were those 6 powerful countries were there? Already just now we discussed those names in the triple alliance and triple entity. I hope now you can also say the countries were Germany, Austria, Hungary, and the last one, Italy. What are those from the other side? The other side was Britain, France, and Russia. So what they did, children? These countries, they increased their expenditures on military. They increased their expenditure over nearly about 3 times more from the year, children. It is about 1880 to 1914. Their expenditure increased to 3 times. Is it clear, children? So what they did under this militarism, what they did? Definitely to improve the militarism. So nearly 3 things were done by these powerful countries. What was those? The 3 things, children. The number one is built massive standing army. Number 1 is they built massive standing army. So these countries, they built massive standing army. Number 1. Number 2 is competed with each other, increased military power. So these countries, they increased military power. And number 3, children, they did it, establish large industries for weapons. They established large industries for the manufacturing of weapons. I hope it is very clear to all of you that how militarism, again, it created a tension among the countries of the world. And who were those countries? They were all the powerful countries, the developed countries of the world. What they did, children? They built a very massive standing army that any time if they give an order, they can attack another country. Next one, they increased their military power. Third one, large number of industries for the manufacturing of weapons were established. So This is also led to one of the reason for the cause for the First World War. The next cause, children. The next cause is Balkan politics. The next cause is Balkan politics. Fifth one is Balkan politics. Now, what is Balkan? What are the countries that come under the Balkan nations? Children, in Europe, the countries that are situated in the Balkan Peninsula, the countries that are there in the Balkan Peninsula are called as Balkan countries. Okay, children, Balkan countries. For example, Serbia, Czechoslovakia, Latvia. These are some of the countries were there. And once upon a time, what happened, children? This Balkan Peninsula was under the control of Ottoman Empire. Under the control of Ottoman Empire of Turkey. As the time has passed, children, what happened? Ottoman Empire became weak, and as the Ottoman Empire became weak, again now it's we can say that powerful countries, they kept an eye over these peninsula countries, over these Balkan countries, because all these countries were under the control of Ottoman Empire, and now there was no powerful empire was there to control this one. So again Russia, then Turkey, then France, and then children we can find Germany. They started their politics to occupy the country, to control the countries that were situated in this Balkan Peninsula. Then what happened? Especially two countries were there by the name Russia and Turkey. Russia and Turkey. These two countries, they tried hard to control over the Black Sea and also to control over the Mediterranean Sea region. They try to control Black Sea region and they try to control Mediterranean Sea region. So what happened, children? Because of this, what happened? A tension started. And in this tension, what happened? All the developed countries like Russia, Turkey, Britain and all those one, they wanted to occupy in this race to get more the countries from the Balkan Peninsula. What happened? They did whatever they could do it. Use their power, use their military, use excess use of weapons also. And this led to what happened, children? The people of these areas of the Balkan Peninsula, they were not ready to submit it, because for a long time they were under the control of Ottoman Empire. So the people, they started revolting. And one such revolt was there, children. The rebel was started, children. Rebel was started in the country started against Austria. Who started this rebel? This rebel was started by Serbia against Austria. So Austria did its best to suppress the revolt of Serbia. And in this only that we can say that led to the final cause now for the First World War. Is it clear, children? So Balkan politics is nothing but Balkan Peninsula. The countries, those countries that are situated at the Balkan Peninsula, called as the Balkan countries. These countries were under the control of Ottoman Empire of Turkey. As the time passed, Ottoman Empire became very weak, and the control over the Balkan Peninsula was very weak by the Ottoman Empire. Then the powerful countries of the world like France, Britain, Russia, Turkey, they started their politics to control over the countries of this Balkan Peninsula. Russia and Turkey, they tried to occupy Black Sea region and the Mediterranean Sea region, children. And in this way, what happened? The rebels were started by the people, and one of the strong rebel was there against Austria. That was started by Serbia. Serbia, one of the Balkan country that was started by Serbia, that led to the final reason for the First World War. I hope it is very clear to you, children. So the next cause, children, after this we have the next cause, we can say as the immediate cause. We can say as the immediate cause for the First World War. Immediate cause. Immediate cause for the First World War. So now, children, what I said just now, a revolt was started, a rebel was started. Where was it started? It started in the Serbia. Against which country? Against Austria. So what Serbians did, as you know that Serbians means the people of Serbia called as Serbians. So Serbia, on the 28th of June 1914, the Crown Prince of Austria by the name Archduke Ferdinand. The Crown Prince of Austria by the name Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated along with his wife. Along with his wife. Along with his wife by the name Sophia. By the name Sophia. Is it clear, children? 28th of June 1914, the Crown Prince of Austria was by the name Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated. Assassinated means political killing, was killed. So instead of killing, we are using the word assassination. Assassinated along with his wife Sophia by one of the Serbian rebel. Austria got angry. Austria asked to give the explanation to Serbia that on what basis, for what reason they assassinated the crown prince along with his wife. And they gave them the ultimatum that a one-time period, that till that time they have to give the explanation. But Serbia was quiet. Serbia didn't give any answer. Then exactly after 1 month, 28th of July 1914, Austria attacked on Serbia. Austria attack on Serbia. That led to the start of First World War. This was a reason to start the First World War. Now you are getting the question in your mind. Just one country is attacking on the other country, a small country, and it led to the First World War. Yes, children. Because just now remember, children, we discussed triple entity and the triple alliance. What we discussed, children, in triple entente and the triple alliance, that the world was divided into some groups. Some groups like some powerful countries, they divided among themselves, and they promised that they will help each other at the time, their alliance country at the time of need. So when the Austria attacked on Serbia, okay, so what happened? Immediately Serbia received a help from the countries like Britain, France and Russia. Remember, we discussed these countries were called as the Allied countries, and Serbia was a member of these alliances. Okay, so as soon as the Austria attacked on Serbia, Serbia got help from the Britain, France and Russia. Now what happened that side? Definitely Austria was the partner, was in the alliance with the countries like Germany, Austria-Hungary we discussed, and Italy. So as the Britain, what happened? Serbia was attacked by Austria was attacked by the Serbia. Britain attacked on Austria. as this happened, Germany attacked on this country. Like that, what happened? Slowly and slowly, all the countries of the world, they started attacking on each other, and that led to the First World War. Many countries, they joined this First World War, either from this group or from this group, children, and the First World War started. On which date the First World War started, children? 28th of July 1914. First World War was started, children. Is it clear, children? So what happened? What was the result of this First World War? So as the war was going on, children, during this war, what happened in Russia? Russia in the year 1917. As you all know, the period of First World War, 1914 to 1918. In Russia, 1917, a revolution was started. We can say internal revolution was started in Russia. So as the revolution was started in Russia, Russia withdrew from the war, from the First World War. What was the reason, children, that Russia withdrew from the war? Because in Russia, internal revolution was started. A revolution was started in the country. Because of that, Russia could not concentrate on the First World War. And to solve its own internal revolution, Russia withdrew from the war. And as Russia left, then only two countries were there, children, Britain and France. By the time, what happened, children? Germany, it attacked on the ship of US by the name it is Lusitania. By the name Lusitania. What is Lusitania? Lusitania is the name of the ship, and this ship was sunk. This ship was sunk. As the Germany attacked on the US ship Lusitania, US joined the First World War on behalf of allied countries. Okay, Russia left and US joined this war. And you can see the picture very clearly, children. Here, the countries are there. Britain, France, and we can say now, children, US. All the powerful countries in one side. Easily they defeated Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary. And with this, the First World War came to an end in the year 1918. First World War came to an end in the year 1918. So I hope it is very clear to you, children, the immediate cause for the First World War and who were the victorious countries. These all were the victorious countries. They were the losers. Is it clear, children, to all of you? So, after the causes of the First World War, children, now our next topic is about the world after the First World War. As in the causes of the First World War, we already discussed about the which countries were the victorious countries and which countries were the defeated countries. So let us remind once again. So which countries were the victorious countries, children? That was also called as the Allied countries. They were Britain, France, and US. Shall we take Russia? No, because Russia withdrew from in the year 1917, in the middle of the war only. So US, Britain, and France were called as the victorious countries, and the defeated countries were Austria-Hungary, Germany, Italy, and also Turkey, because Turkey helped these countries. Which countries? Central Powers countries. So the first condition was the victorious powers, they imposed conditions and terms on the defeated countries. Certain, we can say, the strict rules and regulations, certain conditions were imposed. What were those? We'll discuss after this topic. They imposed on the defeated countries. Austro-Hungarian and the Ottoman Empire, these two empires were dissolved. Okay, Then German Empire. German Empire were broken and it was formed as Democratic Republic. Empire was broken and it was formed as Democratic Republic. Ottoman Empire, a very powerful empire of those days. Ottoman Empire was replaced by Republic of Turkey. And with this one, Balkan Peninsula, just now we discussed, children, there are many countries were there in the Balkan Peninsula. So almost all many countries, large number of countries, they got independence. What was those countries, children? Austria, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, like many countries, they got independent. So this happened, children, after the First World War. But can we say that everything is finished after the First World War by all these one? No. We discussed the victorious powers, they imposed conditions and terms on the defeated countries. What were those conditions and terms on the defeated countries? We'll discuss in the Treaty of Versailles. So let us discuss our next topic, children, Treaty of Versailles. It's a very important, very famous treaty, children. Very famous and very important in the historical point of view. Historical treaty, children. So, the Treaty of Versailles. Treaty of Versailles. Now, the question comes, what is Versailles? Versailles is nothing but, children. It is one of the, place in Paris and it is in France. This was a treaty, an agreement that was signed in June 1919. The Treaty of Versailles was signed in June 1919 at the Mirror Hall. At the Mirror Palace also we can say, Mirror Hall of Versailles. Mirror Hall of Versailles. What was this treaty? This was a treaty that was signed by Germany. That means Germany accepted all we can say that all the insult that was the victorious power. They made Germany to sign this treaty that Germany was responsible for the First World War. And because they felt that Germany was responsible for the First World War, so Germany should suffer this punishment, should get this punishment under the name of Treaty of Versailles. So what was the punishment, children? The Germany got it under the Treaty of Versailles. So there were certain conditions were imposed. So Germany, children, so there was a heavy penalty on Germany. Germany had to pay heavy penalty. Heavy penalty for what? Because Germany was responsible for the First World War. So heavy penalty in terms of monetary, in terms of territory, monetary, money. In terms of monetary condition, Germany had to pay much amount of money as the payment for compensation, because they felt that Germany was responsible for all this destruction, because victorious powers, they too lost their resources. There are many problems in the country. So they felt that because Germany was responsible for the First World War, so Germany should pay all the compensation. Germany should pay the heavy compensation to the victorious powers. That is a monetary condition. Beside this one, what are the territory condition? Germany lost its territories to France. Germany lost its territories to France. Germany territories were reduced. Beside this, were there any other, we can say that any other things were imposed in the Treaty of Versailles? Yes. The other things that was imposed, children, on the Treaty of Versailles was, yes, that is demilitarization. Demilitarization. Army and the Navy of Germany was reduced. Okay, demilitarization. No secret alliances. No secret treaties, we can also say, with any other countries of the world. And the most important one, children, that is manufacture of tanks and submarines were forbidden. Tanks, you know, children, what is tanks? Tanks they use in the war. Military, they use the tanks in the war. And submarines, the ships under the water. All these were forbidden. So this was a punishment. The Germany got it in the Treaty of Versailles. Is it clear, children? Treaty of Versailles, in which year was it signed, children? It was signed in the year 1919. Who signed this treaty, children? Victorious power made Germany to sign this treaty because they felt that Germany was responsible for the First World War. And what Germany did, children? They made Germany to pay the heavy penalty over the monetary terms, compensation they had to pay. Over the territorial terms, Germany lost its territories towards to the France. Besides this one, demilitarization, no secret treaties, and the manufacture of tanks and submarines were forbidden. Is it clear, children? That is Treaty of Versailles. So after this Treaty of Versailles, still what happened, children, at the world level after the First World War? Children, Treaty of Versailles was signed. Germany faced the punishment. It was like an insult to the Germany. But what the victorious powers, they thought that this type of destruction should never again happen in the future. To stop this one, to maintain peace and to develop all the countries, it led to the formation of League of Nations. Our next topic is League of Nations. What is League of Nations? This was a League of Nations, we can say as the first international organization. First international organization that was started, children, the League of Nations. And in this League of Nations, it was established in the year 1920 with 58 members. Members means 58 countries of the world. They signed this, that they agreed all the terms and conditions of the League of Nations. What is this League of Nations? International organization. So definitely they should have some aims of League of Nations. The aims of League of Nations, children, is to prevent wars. To prevent wars. Second one, to settle disputes. Third one, to maintain peace and security. To maintain peace and security. Next one, ensure disarmament. Ensure disarmament. Disarmament means no weapons. No manufacturing of no weapons. Arms will be reduced. Disarmament. Work for development. Work for development and work for the development of labor also. So this was the aim for the League of Nations. I think is it clear, children? This is a very important topic from the examination point of view, children. League of Nations was the first international organization that was established in the year 1920 with 58 members countries. The aim of League of Nations, to prevent wars. The second one, to settle disputes, to maintain peace and security, ensure disarmament and work for the development. Children, though League of Nations was established in the year 1920, but it failed for the Second World War. Though this a very good international organization was there, but it failed to stop the Second World War, and that led, we can say that again after a few years, 1939 to 1945 is the time period of Second World War. So children, all these were about the world after the First World War. Hope it is clear to all of you, children.